Kenny Omega did a live stream, and we got a lot of interesting information, y'all. A lot of
Ooh,
interesting
yeah.
things here. And I'm going to start off with the fact that Kenny Omega is returning to AEW this week as we record this video. And he stated that he had no idea he was returning. They put this on TV saying Kenny Omega comes back next week, and he didn't even know about it. He said a family member had to tell him. Ooh, Kiro, how does this happen?
I don't know. How does the miscommunication between Jack Perry and Tony Khan happen? Not what we saw on live TV, but the fact that Jack Perry tried to reach him. How does the miscommunication between CM Punk and everybody else happen, you know? We can get into it. CM Punk is faulty, but Tony Khan is also faulty, man. And this is just another one of these cases where he's not the boss. Like, you might want to mention to one of your biggest stars, even without putting him over too much, he's one of your biggest stars. Like, come on, like, you're returning next week. Or if you're not gonna do it yourself, you know, we got phones now. You could at least message the guy, or you could ask somebody to message. It'll take you like less than 3 seconds to produce those words out of your mouth. I don't know what kind of an operation Tony Khan is running there, but this is not a good look. This is not a good look. I thought they had plans. Oh, Kenny's returning. He's gonna be like the secret EVP or into this crazy storyline. I guess the guy doesn't even know. He didn't even know he was going to return this week. He learned, yeah, like I said, from a family member. That's wild to me.
Hey, there will be no Tony Khan slander on my end, but I will say this. The guy is out sick, like with an injury, but he has like a sickness. So you would think you'd contact him at least and say, hey, we're thinking about having you back in on Wednesday for this or that. Do you have any doctor's appointments coming up? Are you available? But you just pretty much posted like Kenny Omega is going to be here next week. So if he's not available, then what do? And we saw they just ran one of the biggest angles they've ever ran. And I would think that Kenny Omega is set to be involved in that. So if he is, and he ends up not being available because you didn't contact him first, what do you do from there? Could be interesting. Brian, I bring that up first for something else that we're going to get to, but what do you think about this?
Oh, I think that is ridiculous, in my opinion, man. I mean, this is just stuff that happens with indie companies, you know, just miscommunications, and it just seems like it's not being ran by a person with a brain. So I think that's when the issue comes in. You know what I'm saying? And right now, that's just what it is. And don't get me wrong, AEW just put on the best episode of 2024 AEW television last week. But man, you can't do stuff like this. I always feel like they do some really, really good stuff. And then we get like that one report that is like, geez, they took a step back. So that's just the way I feel about it, man. It could have been handled much different. What has me really surprised is Kenny Omega is openly talking about this, especially about a company that he helped build. I just don't know if I would put them in a bad light, knowing that people will take those things, no matter if there's context or what it is, they'll take that and run with it. So that's just the only thing I have to say about that. Just got to be careful what you put online, especially as a wrestler. And whether the company was right or wrong, I just think that there's certain things you got to keep behind closed doors. Because we wouldn't be talking about this right now if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. And again, there will be no Tony Khan slander on my end, but I think you got a good point there. He did help build this company, but based on the rest of that live stream, it made me feel like he's not so much as locked into this company as, let's say, the Young Bucks may be, because there were some people in the chat slandering Roman Reigns, and he came and he was the white knight. He was like, yo, there will be no Roman Reigns slander in this chat. He is a superstar, and he's presented like the superstar. He has the big matches, and every time he puts on a match, you know it's the big match when it's on pay-per-view. And he said, this is the way I want to be presented. And that is very interesting to me because AEW has not presented him in that way. And we see Jade Cargill, when she went to WWE, she was presented in that way, and I think that did not go beyond what Kenny Omega saw. So there is a slight possibility that Kenny Omega might be trying to stay neutral in the situation because we heard before he kind of made peace with CM Punk. He said, I wanted to get in there. I wanted to scrap. We could have sat down, talked about it, and moved past it. So now that opens up the gate for him to have that conversation with CM Punk, who is in WWE right now. With him cleaning things up and kind of talking very favorably about WWE. We see John Cena always post videos and stuff about Kenny Omega, like pictures of Kenny Omega. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but it feels kind of strange. Do y'all think it's possible Kenny Omega is looking to make that jump?
Well,
It
it's
is.
possible.
Yeah.
It's possible, man. Like, I don't know, what Kenny is doing health wise right now. I don't know what they can do for him to try and accommodate him, because if we're talking from a business and schedule standpoint, with whatever Kenny Omega is going through at this very moment with his health, this company is probably the best situation for him. But if he feels that he can be presented in another way, a better way, and he wants to do that and go to WWE, because me personally, if Kenny Omega gets better, I think he goes to WWE. I think he's pretty much done everything he wanted to do in AEW, and he's helped build it, and he's helped make it a foundation. I can see him going to the big leagues and really making.
Oh, come on! But
I can't even say myself
Come on.
because I know it makes me say something, but but I just think that he wants. I think that right now, personally, like me thinking in just my humble opinion, I think Kenny Omega in a way wants to prove to himself that he could do it in WWE as well.
Yeah.
And then I think that, as a wrestler, you always got that ego and what if, or what if I did this, what if I did that? And if Kenny's health allows him to, I would love to see it, man.
I think you're quite right, and I would not be surprised. I mean, he did find himself in the WWE very early in his career, and he had to deal with guys like Bill DeMott and Vince McMahon was running things. Now it's a lot more different. Not only you don't have crazy trainers like Bill DeMott, you have world class, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time training you. And well, not that Kenny Omega has to deal with that too much when if he goes to the WWE. I feel like I said when, because it is more than likely. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's at the end of his career, kind of like Bryan Danielson, where he might want to just try. He might want to say, hey, my career is ending anyways. Let me do this one last run just for the hell of it. Let me see, how I'm going to perform in a WWE, audience, in a WWE program. And I could totally see this happening. I don't know how close of a friends they are with the Young Bucks and stuff. I mean, they've been closely knit forever now, it seems like, but you never know. That's what they show on camera. Personally, Kenny might just not be there at all. I mean, Canadians, they're kind of like that. They're like really passive aggressive. They're really polite. They say they're your friend, but you never know. You never know what he might be feeling inside. And for Kenny to go to WWE, I mean, yeah, like he says, he wants to be treated like Roman Reigns. Brian, you brought up a great point where he said, like, why would he say this out loud? Like when Jack Perry says it, it's unprofessional. Maybe we can chalk it up to him being young. Kenny Omega is not that young. Now, I like what he's saying, by the way, about Roman Reigns. I agree with him, but why would you pretty much slander AEW like that? Why would you crap where you're going to eat? He's obviously dissatisfied enough that he's calling out Tony Khan live. This Twitch Kenny Omega is kind of wild. Twitch, like I wish. Yeah. I wish he. In his promos, it was kind of the same. He doesn't have to scream or anything like that. Just say some real stuff in his actual wrestling promos too. I think that'll be a lot better for him. But everything leaves an opening. Like everything that we're seeing so far, Kenny has been doing, leaves an opening. He had a similar complaint where, like, when he first got injured, I guess, or I remember something like that. Like he was injured, he was out, and nobody asked in AEW what he was doing, or like nobody knew in AEW. It's just nobody knows what's going on in AEW in general. It's a bit of a mess right now, but yeah, he seems a little dissatisfied, and he has more than the opportunity to go to the WWE because he can still wrestle, and he's gonna wrestle less. It's kind of gonna be like an AEW schedule for Kenny Omega. He's not gonna be there to go be this new NXT guy, put in work each and every single week. No, they'll try to build him up as a special attraction. I'm sure, just like AJ Styles, when he first arrives, he's gonna wrestle a lot. But other than that, he's just gonna have a fun ride. And I think the biggest case that he can go, and this is a bit of a ridiculous example that I'm about to show you guys, but just imagine all the dream matches he can have, like with CM Punk. I mean, Kenny Omega, CM Punk, instead of AEW, we get it at the WWE. And Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, we never really got that match either. It was just a betrayal back in New Japan. Why not have that match? Now you can have it. Kenny Omega, Finn Balor, just two New Japan guys going at it. Bullet Club leaders. I know it's not a big marquee match. Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns, dude. Come on. There's
Kenny Omega, John Cena.
I would love to see Kenny and Seth, man. That's like one of my
Kenny and
dream
Seth,
matches right
yes.
there.
I think
And
John Cena wants to wrestle him though, because I don't like. Why else would he be putting them all over his social media all the time?
I
I
don't
think
know.
John Cena is just a wrestling fan, bro. I think he watches AEW.
But
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. I mean,
Yeah.
he had the conversation with MJF and stuff, so I'm sure he does. But I mean, Kiddo, you said something interesting there. Like you said, Kenny Omega kind of craps on AEW, crap where you eat. I think he really did do that kind of without doing it, because he said, I love how Roman Reigns is being presented. I want to be presented like that. And then he said, I used to be presented like that in New Japan. So that kind of leaves one company out, AEW. So that makes me think that he's not comfortable with how he has been presented in AEW and what he has been doing. And I'm sure you can agree with that, Kiddo, because you said
100%.
you really fell out of AEW when with this whole 69 me done.
Yep. And quick,
Yeah.
I'll just add this in. I used to love Kenny Omega. Used to be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time when he was in New Japan because of the way he was presented. And with that Ospreay match, when he back to New Japan, it was back to old Kenny Omega, cool Kenny Omega again for just one match. I thought he had all the control. I don't know what's going on. I guess this is the Tony Khan's vision for Kenny Omega.
Yeah. But I'll end off by saying this. Don Callis is better than Paul Heyman, so I hope they bring him over too.
Oh man.